This video is brought to you by Gamersubs. Use code MHB at checkout for 10% off your next order. A couple of weeks ago for the month of May, I challenged myself to platinum all 3 of the LEGO Star Wars games. We started with the Clone Wars, which I'd never played before, but it was a great time to my surprise, especially given you don't hear many people talk about it. But now we move on to a game I remember enjoying well enough, but its existence definitely confused me, being one of the few LEGO games based solely off of one movie. LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens. Again, this was a title I enjoyed well enough back at release, being swept up in the hype of the beginning of a new trilogy of Star Wars films, but it didn't leave a lasting impression on me, just beating the story mode and moving on shortly after, so I was interested to revisit this one and see what the game is like to play today, and of course, how that platinum stacks up with the rest of the LEGO games. As always, if you do end up enjoying the content, be sure to like the video, comment below some more platinums you'd like to see me tackle next, subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, and go over to twitch.tv/MayorHairBear if you want to see some of these platinum journeys live. Now, at this point, this being my 5th LEGO Platinum, we know what to expect going in, but for those who don't, according to PSN profiles, The Force Awakens ranks a 3 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, takes 2 playthroughs, and roughly 24 hours to complete. Pretty standard for the series, but again, as I said, I did play this one at launch, meaning I wasn't starting from scratch with this game, already having 22 out of the 50 base game trophies, mainly just for beating the levels in story mode and some other bits and pieces. So to make up for that head start, and because I got lucky with a pre-owned copy of the game, I was going to complete all 4 of the DLCs in the game as well, taking us to 70 trophies total. But where do we start? I hadn't played the game in almost 8 years, so I sort of just loaded up my save file and waited to see where it put me, which was straight into one of the new adventure levels. You see, in The Force Awakens there are 10 base game levels, a prologue and epilogue, and 6 new adventure levels which flesh out the events in between parts of the film. So that's where I was plopped into, and I figured it was as good a place as any to reacquaint myself with how this game works. Completing Poe to the rescue. Never tell me the odds. Alright, that's the first trophy in like 7 years. 8 years even? God damn, it's been a long time. Alright, we're locked in now though. We are locked in. Lor San Tekka's return. Traveled too far, seen too much. And Rathtar hunting. Used to have a bigger crew. Before taking a quick break to farm up some studs. This was the wildest thing about reloading this save and seeing how I approached LEGO games before versus now, because I had bugger all studs to my name and they're sort of important to buy all the characters and red bricks. Thankfully, there's a quick and easy way to get millions of studs fast, and that is by playing the level on the Millennium Falcon by the chessboard, which has us control several monsters and take out waves of enemies. Doing this a few times allowed me to buy the stud multiplier red bricks, and I quickly got more than enough studs to last me through to the end of the game. Now, my next step wasn't to go and complete the remaining 3 new adventure levels, mainly because I didn't have enough gold bricks to access all of them yet. Again, gold bricks are unlocked for completing levels, getting true Jedi or mini kits, and also found in the open world for completing side missions or just in the world. So I decided to go into free play and grab all the mini kits in the main 12 missions, from the prologue all the way to Luke's Island, which gave us some more gold bricks and a couple of trophies for collecting all mini kits in a level. Just a scavenger. And by pure accident, as Kylo Ren, force freezing another character. Stop. Kylo time. We'll get back to free play soon, but with enough gold bricks behind us, it was time to play the remaining 3 new adventure levels. First, the Crimson Corsair. The Crimson Corsair. Then travel over Tau. Hello, were you looking for me? And finally, the Ottogan Assault. It's a trap. It's true, all of it. Is that, yeah. All the new adventure levels done. That was finally all the story complete, in the main game at least. But I did quickly have to go back to Rathtar hunting to snag the only remaining true Jedi I needed for collecting enough studs, which with all the stud multipliers happens in seconds. The new Jedi will rise. Now, I'm not sure my thought process here exactly, but for whatever reason, instead of tidying up the remaining levels in free play, I decided to mix it up and start completing the 4 explorable planets in Takodana, Dakar, Jakku, and Starkiller Base. This is where a bulk of the gold bricks are found, as well as various side missions from races, rebel and first order missions, scavenger and bounty hunter quests, etc. There's quite a lot to do and see in The Force Awakens, and compared to the Skywalker saga, which is a rant for another day, the planet completion aspect is actually something I thoroughly enjoyed. I mean, it took me less than 2 hours to complete Takodana and Dakar, nabbing the trophy for creating a custom character in the process. Cool. Crypto Surgeon. And a big part of that is because all the side missions are either on the same planet or immediately teleport you elsewhere to quickly complete. Again though, a rant for another day, but Skywalker Saga butchered that part. Anyway, with half the planets complete, most of the levels done and dusted, it was time to step the trophy hunting into hyperdrive, because in the next 2.5 hours, we jumped from 33 trophies to 61. But how did we get so much done in such a short time? Well, it was mainly thanks to the DLC being very generous with its trophies. There's 4 DLC levels with 5 trophies apiece. One for completing the level, for getting True Jedi, for collecting all mini-kits, and the other 2 are more varied from level to level. Now trophy-wise, some of these levels aren't that interesting to go over, like the First Order Siege of Takodana or Escape from Starkiller Base. I got 4 out of the 5 trophies in the story playthrough, just needing the mini-kits to clean up in free play. Those beasts! I shall deal with her on my own. We must have the girl. I'll remedy that immediately, sir. On your wing, Epsilon 6. Crush the First Order. Another textbook landing. Hey, that's not yours. Time to earn your passage, R3. I loosened the lid. The Phantom Limb is probably the fewest trophies we got through the story mode, just the 2 for completing the level and getting True Jedi. We are in quite a predicament, but at a terrible cost. But in free play, we went off, killing all swarmers with PZ-99. What was he programmed to? Oh, okay. So I must have just got one stolen from me at the start, that's fine. Playing as Poe and BB-8. Here we go. Thought we'd never find you. While we were switching characters, doing some miscellaneous trophies from the base game, like defeating Kylo as Vader. Show me, grandfather. Having Kylo and Han Solo in the same party. Family reunion. And defeating Finn with FN2199. There we go, traitor! Before grabbing the final mini-kit for the level. I retrieved the information. Poe's quest for survival though was my first experience with a bugged trophy, as I got through all the usual trophies except for one. Quite the marksman. Kinda like to get back to work. Who's gonna pick that stuff up? A use for scrap. All I needed to do was avoid all the speeder traps in the first part of the level. I did this a solid 5 to 6 times before I found a solution that worked, which was simply to restart the game and hope it works. What the f is going on? I should have gotten this by now. Give it another go, I guess. I don't know why this trophy's not popping for me. I'm not hitting these traps. What is wrong with this trophy, man? What the f is going on? Oh, greatest pilot I've ever met. There we go. Holy crap, why was that such a pain in the ass? Before we leave the DLC though, I do just want to quickly say this. Maybe this opinion is because I didn't have to pay for the DLC thanks to someone not using their season pass ticket, but I really liked these new levels. We get to see unique perspectives like the First Order attacking Takodana or the rebels trying to escape Starkiller Base. We get some fleshing out of what the hell was going on before and in between events like with 3PO's red arm or how Poe got off Jakku, and it makes for some fun levels. levels. They are really short though, again taking me around 2.5 hours to not only play through the story, but also complete it in free play. So if you aren't as lucky as yours truly, make sure these are on sale because I don't know if they're worth the full asking price. Anyway, with the DLC done and dusted, it was time to head back to the main game and grab this platinum. I decided to knock out the remaining miscellaneous trophies for doing things like playing as classic Han Solo and Chewie on the Millennium Falcon. Chewie, we're home. Playing as Unkar Plutt on the Falcon. Oh, it is in alphabetical order. I'm a dummy, man. How did I only just realize that? There we go, Unkar Plutt. Hey, that's mine! Completing a free play level as Chewie and Maz Kanata, which I got simply by selecting the final checkpoint in a level and save quitting back to the menu. Alright, let's see. Does this work? It does. I like that Wookiee. There we go. Nice and easy. Destroyed all the computer terminals in the Starkiller shield room, which I'd heard can be a pain but got my first try. There we go. Anything else? And used a hat dispenser to put a Stormtrooper helmet on a small minifigure. Little short for a Stormtrooper. Now, all that was left was to complete the remaining levels in free play, snagging our final red brick. Alright, this should be, just have to buy the red bricks we just found, so... Red leader. And ultimately finding all the mini kits in the game. I can fly anything. And then it was on to Jakku and Starkiller Base to complete those planets. These are much bigger planets than Takodana or Dakar, taking me a good 3.5 hours to get through both, but again, these are good fun to complete. Exploring the planets fully, finding gold bricks, characters, completing side missions, it was a blast, and on Starkiller Base, the final planet, is when we started getting some trophy reward for our effort, completing all bounty hunts. He's no good to me dead. All scavenger missions. 60 portions. All races. Less than 12 parsecs. All first order missions. Bow to the first order. And all resistance missions. A big deal in the resistance. All that was standing in our way for 100% completion was to complete the bonus level, Starkiller Destruction, which is a fun little blow up everything type of mission, and now we just needed to head to Dakar to unfreeze all our hidden characters, and the platinum was mine. After a good scare, because why not? So many characters that I'll never use because I've finished the game. We should have gotten a platinum right there. Maybe I've got to quit out and come back. Because I have 100%. There we go. Okay, good. The Force is strong with this one. And the Force Awakens. Gave me a little jump scare at the end there, which wasn't necessary, but yeah, overall, that was pretty fun. So, after 27 hours in total, past Jimmy really let me down on this one, but hey, only 3 hours more than the estimate, I'll take it. What did I think of LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens Platinum, and the game in general? Again, this was a game I wasn't expecting much from. I didn't remember much about it from 2016, and I took that to mean it probably wasn't very good, but I was completely wrong. This was a great time to play. It still confuses me why just this movie got an entire game, but I think they pulled it off really well. The levels are good fun, the new adventure levels flesh out the in-between to great effect, and the DLC was a blast as well. In terms of the Platinum Trophy, nothing about this one really bothered me. I mean, I could have done without the bug trophy and the platinum delay at the end, but outside of that, this was such a smooth ride, which isn't always the case with these LEGO Platinums. Yes, some of the content like the side missions can get repetitive, but I think mixing the free play in with the planet completion really helped on that front keep things fresh. It was a great time from start to finish, and the time just seemed to fly by while grabbing the platinum, which is always a good sign. I can honestly say, if you haven't played this game yet, you should change that. It's a shame we never got a Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker game, because TT Games made for a way better experience here than the film it was based on. But anyway, that's 2 down, 1 more to go, so make sure to stay tuned for by far the biggest LEGO grind we've ever embarked upon. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far into the video, make sure to leave a comment with a simple, chewy, "We're home" to let me know that you made it to the end. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to leave it a like because it helps let me know that you enjoyed yourself. Comment below some more games you want to see get platinum next, as well as your personal favorite LEGO game and platinum trophy. Thank you to all my channel members for that extra level of support, and special thanks to those in the Bear Club: G&T Papi, Jackie White, Nugget, Darkwolf, Daniel Fitzgerald, Scott Unwin, Steel Vanguard, NPO Crusader, Zafado, Nef, Marcel, and Moon. It really does mean a lot to me. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, go give my socials a follow if you fancy @MayorHairBear, join the Discord server to have a chat, go and chuck me a follow on Twitch if you want to see some of these platinum journeys live, or MayorHairBear VODs if those pesky time zones don't line up for you, and I'll catch you all in the next video.